What's currently going on between Jalen Green and Jalen Suggs is interesting to say the least. Some people are on Green's side, but there's also a lot of people that are on Suggs' side. I can see why they're hopping on Jalen Suggs' side, but I don't know. At the moment, I think I'm sticking with Jalen Green. I know you're probably confused and have no idea what's going on, so without further ado, let's get into this video. Oh yeah guys, real quick before we get into this video, in honor of hitting 100,000 subscribers, I'm gonna follow every person back that follows me on Twitter. It's easier for me to see it if you like my most recent tweet, so go do that and I'll try to follow back as many as I can. Thank you so much for 100K. Now let's get into this video. Okay, so out of high school, Jalen Green was the #1 overall player in the entire country, and Jalen Suggs was not too far behind. He was ranked at number 6. These two guys at this point in time last year were still in high school, so that's not too long ago. At that point in time when these two guys were in high school, everyone was talking about how Jalen Green was a lock for the #1 overall pick. Even if there was a debate, the real debate, if some of y'all remember, was between Cade Cunningham and Jalen Green and nobody else. When I say nobody, I mean there wasn't a single soul out there that was saying Jalen Suggs even had a chance of getting drafted higher than Jalen Green. To be honest, why would you? Nobody in their right mind would pick Suggs over Green at this point in time last year. Suggs was projected to be a lottery pick and easily be in the top 15, but nobody was mentioning him going in the top 5. Flash forward in time to college though, he started to make a little noise. For his 1 year at Gonzaga, he shined. He averaged almost 15 points per game, 5 rebounds, and almost 5 assists. He was somewhat efficient. He shot 34% from the 3-point line and 50% from the field, and those are solid numbers. As we all know though, or should know, Jalen Green didn't go to college and he went to the G League. In the G League, I think he even looked better than advertised. Most NBA scouts and analysts thought he was going to struggle because he was playing older and somewhat better competition, but he still dominated. He averaged 17.9 points per game, 4 rebounds, and almost 3 assists. He shot 36.5% from the 3-point line, which is a great sign, and he also shot 46% from the overall field. If you're just going off the stats, they're pretty even. I would give the edge to Jalen Green, but they both had similar seasons. Green shot better from the 3-point line, but Suggs shot better from the overall field. Jalen Green also averaged more points, but Suggs averaged more assists, so it evens out. Then too, there's the whole argument where Jalen Green's playing better and older competition. Regardless of all that, I think you get the point. We can all somewhat agree that they had similar seasons. Therefore, if they had similar seasons, and last year at this point in time, Jalen Green was supposed to be picked higher and still be the better overall player, the rankings and the mock draft shouldn't change, should they? If you don't know what I mean by that, let me put it into even more perspective for you. For example, let's say Jalen Green is the #1 player in the country and Jalen Suggs is #2. Well, for Jalen Suggs to get that #1 spot, either A, Jalen Green would have to play worse, or B, Jalen Suggs would have to be playing better. So theoretically, if Jalen Green's at 1, Suggs is at 2, and throughout the entire season, both players have similar stats and average 10 points per game, the ranking shouldn't change. Cause nothing really happened, it just makes sense. That's where we're at in this video. Jalen Green was always ranked higher than Suggs and everybody liked him more as an NBA player. And in the recent season, for both of these players, they were very similar. But however, with all that being said, there is a huge problem. I'm not a fan of the G League route, and even though it's good and I know some of these players need the money and they have to do it, if you can have a choice, I would go to college. And here's why. In college, you're going to get so much media attention, it's almost unreal. Whether that's from playing on national TV, March Madness, Twitter, or anything. People love college basketball and you're going to get more media attention at the college level than you will at the G League. To top that off, if you're one of those players that plays in March Madness and you ball out, it takes your draft stock to another level. Yeah, I think you know where this is going. Suggs was one of those players who balled out in March Madness, and every single game during that tournament, his draft stock continued to rise. On the other hand, Green did not play college basketball and he played in the G League. We just talked about his stats. He was averaging 18 points per game and shot 36.5% from the 3-point line. Even though he had great numbers, great stats, and looked really good out there, there, nobody really saw it or paid attention to most of it. And if you think I'm wrong, just listen to this. If I had to ask you the question, whose games and who did you watch more this year, would it be Jalen Suggs or Jalen Green? Almost 99% of you would say Jalen Suggs. It has nothing to do with Jalen Green not being a great basketball player. It has everything to do with Jalen Suggs playing college basketball. More people are going to see it. You're going to see more Instagram highlights, Twitter highlights, and all that good stuff. It doesn't just stop there though. The media and people in general have a bad problem of living in the present. What I mean by that is this right here. When we see something happen live or it just happened within a day, a week, or a year, we think that's a great sports moment and it's one of the best of all time. There's many examples you could use for that, but one I'm going to use is the whole GOAT debate with Michael Jordan, Kobe, and LeBron. If you grew up watching LeBron and never really saw Jordan play, you would think that LeBron's better because he won 3 to 4 rings. Let's say LeBron wins a championship this year. Everybody's going to claim him as the GOAT, but that's just because it just happened and you're in love with the moment. You gotta remember that there's players with more championships than him. Whereas Jordan won 6 championships, so even if LeBron wins 1 more, he still hasn't caught up to him. I'm saying that to lead up to this. People like to claim players and sports moments as the greatest of all time because they witnessed them. You witnessed it, and I get it, it means a lot to you. But just because that just happened, it doesn't mean it's the greatest. Let's say you was at the game where Kobe Bryant dropped 81 points. You probably think that's the best scoring performance ever, even though Wilt dropped 100. I can guarantee you this. People that were at Wilt Chamberlain's 100-point game think that is the greatest sports moment and scoring moment of all time. But on the other hand, people at Kobe's game think that's more impressive. It goes hand in hand, and I hope I explained that well. People are prisoners of the moment. There's not a lot wrong with that, but sometimes there is. And for this video, I think this is one of those classic examples. Currently right now, as to when I'm speaking, everyone has fallen in love with Jalen Suggs. For obvious reasons, we knew he was going to be a lottery pick going into this season. But where he's at now, nobody expected it. The main reason he's gone up so much is because of the run he had in March Madness and him hitting that crazy shot. Am I saying he's going to get drafted in the top 5 because he hit a crazy shot? No, he has a great game, but that definitely helped him get some recognition. On the flip side, Jalen Green isn't getting any. And why is that? Once again, it's because the G League's not big on the social media side. Or even from people watching it. Come on now, how many people do you know that actively watch the G League? It cannot be that many, but hey, even casual fans watch March Madness. With Suggs having a miraculous run in the NCAA tournament, this has boosted his draft stock up so much. He's went up so much, matter of fact, he is now ahead of Jalen Green, and it doesn't make any sense to me. In one of the most recent mock drafts, which was only 2 or 3 days ago, Jalen Suggs is projected to go number 2 behind Cade Cunningham. Remember that less than a year ago, the conversation was Cade Cunningham and Jalen Green going 1 and 2. One thing I took notice in on every mock draft was the fact that every single one mentioned his run at Gonzaga. I'm telling you, he built and boosted his resume so much in that tournament. I don't think you guys understand. The same mock draft does have Green falling, but only to number 4. Him going to the G League, I don't care what you say, it hurt his draft stock because it's been proven that more NBA scouts go to college games than G League games. Don't be a prisoner of the moment, and don't get me wrong, Jalen Suggs is a fantastic player and any team would be lucky to land this guy. But do not forget how much of a dog that Jalen Green was in high school. And even in the G League, he was making it look easy. I hope some of you remember that Jalen Green was being compared to a one and only generational type of talent at the high school level. They was not saying that about Jalen Suggs, and I got a lot of respect for Suggs, but he's not a generational talent like Jalen Green is. Green is a 6'5", 200-pound point guard / shooting guard that can jump out of the gym and also shoot the 3-ball. And Suggs isn't too far behind that, but I don't label him as a generational type of talent. He's going to be a solid and great point guard at the NBA level, and maybe even an all-star. But Jalen Green's potential is through the roof. It doesn't make sense to me how everyone can be so high on Jalen Green in less than a year you drop him behind a player that you would never drop him behind in your life. It would make sense if Green had a terrible season and Suggs had a great one, but like we even saw it, you could argue that Green had a better year. It's really mind-boggling to me, and it's kind of frustrating if I'm being honest. There's no way I would even think about taking Jalen Suggs over Jalen Green. I think the gap between these two players, it's not even that close. The 1 and number 2 picks, and it's clear and cut, is Cade Cunningham and Jalen Green. And then the gap between them and number 3 and 4 and 5 isn't huge, but it's not that close, at least in my opinion. What makes this debate even more interesting is that there's now half people that would take Suggs and half that would take Green. I don't see it, and I don't even know why it's a debate. Please let me know in the comment section down below who you're rocking with. I'm very curious because unless I've missed something where Jalen Green's having off the court problems, I don't see why it changed. I like Jalen Suggs, and he would be great to have as a point guard, but I don't see him taking over and being a franchise player. He'd be a good Batman to a Robin. Him and LeBron would work great together. What I'm getting to and what I'm trying to say is that Jalen Green is a guy that could average 30 points per game in the NBA. Well, maybe not 30, that's kind of high, but easily 25. I don't see that with Jalen Suggs right now. He didn't even average over 15 in college. Jalen Suggs is an all-star caliber player, but Jalen Green is a generational type of player, and there's a difference. Let me know your thoughts below. I am very curious, Jalen Green or Jalen Suggs. But with all that being said, that's going to wrap up this video. Hope you guys enjoyed. Hope you guys learned something. If you're new to that channel, what are you doing? Join the family. Hit that subscribe button. We're on the road to 5 million, baby. And as always, let's be great. I'm out, y'all. Peace.